Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Ultra Confusion Hangout. You may notice that it is Wednesday night instead of Thursday night. It's a little
But
bit of a...
Thursday,
It's Wednesday. I'm sorry, Zealeus, but it is Wednesday.
I'm trying to shorten the work week for everybody's sake. Come on.
I know. Well, anyways, I am your host, Charlie, and of course, I am joined once again by the prolific governor himself, Zealeus!
So,
That's a good question. I don't know. What is,
that would be an outstanding question. I can see that you're drinking a beverage of choice. That is what some may consider what is up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's throw out all the easy stuff. Let's get right down to the hard stuff.
The hard stuff?
Yes.
Right on me.
Zealeus and I are going to be discussing a very, very, very controversial, yet very relevant topic that's happening in today's society.
We are. This is excellent news for all involved.
The thing that we're about to talk about is the death of creativity. It's a very difficult, very broad topic, so we're going to try our best to explain why it is that... no, I'm just kidding. That would be really
Where
fucking
am I
hard to
really
do.
going with this? I'm just like, okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, okay, to be serious with you, I think the topic should literally be, when did people become so expendable in today's marketplace? Why is it that almost every single company out there, it now views this mentality of burn them and turn them and F the consequences? I mean, seriously, yes, they did. No one pulled a CCP, well, except for CCP. CCP has this wonderful tradition of basically laying off people right before Christmas. I don't know. And now you've got a big company, Game Trailers, who just got bought by another company. And you kind of understand why there was a little bit of a layoff. But 2/3 of their company was laid off. Then you've got other companies like Irrational Games who decide, we're getting too known for being the BioShock thing. Let's not leave the studio as it is and let, everyone survive. Let's close the motherfucker. I'll take 15 of my best people, and then hopefully the rest of you guys could find something.
But what incentive or reason do companies really have to keep their workers intact? I mean, it really comes down to their company, and they're there for the bottom line. And if they can keep the bottom line with cutting 2/3 of their staff, there's no, unfortunately, reason to keep them. But I also come from the standpoint of me, myself, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very strong proponent of, for instance, unions. I love the idea of unions. And granted, I know there's some always examples out there of like, oh, that's going to be with any example. There's always the good and the bad.
Right.
But overall, I definitely think there's kind of that correlation, and correlation is not always causation. Yes, this is true. Mm-hmm. But you just kind of look, throughout the history of the United States, there's kind of that period, when unions were really strong, and maybe it was or wasn't because of unions. That's maybe Jesse would probably know better than I do.
Right.
But that song where there also is that pride as a worker. That strong kind of American pride workmanship.
Mm-hmm.
You saw posters, or what was that girl's name? Rivet the Riveter.
Oh God, what was it?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Rosie the Riveter. It was Rosie the Riveter. But it's like there was this time where like American workmanship was really strong, and the other thing is you also couldn't really outsource your labor, and maybe that's part of it too. Especially, a lot of these kind of blue-collar, white-collar jobs, especially like in the IT sector. It's always kind of a joke whenever you call tech support. Well, do they speak English? And granted, that's somewhat. I know I keep on cutting you off. I'm sorry. I know it's kind of, some people consider that racist a tad bit, but, when you're trying to get the answer for the 15th time, you're like, damn it, I just want someone I can understand. So, I don't know. I think part of it is, there is this mentality where even among employees,
Mm-hmm.
fellow employees, are seen as expendable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and they see their own job as expendable. And, as a worker, how do you really fight for your job? There really is not a way to really stand up for what you want in your job position.
See, here's the thing. Once upon a time, it was the people within your company that made your company. And it's the people that help create the thing that raises your company. And now, yes, I understand. Finances, blah, 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 blah. First of all, outsourcing, after discussing with very, very many different individuals, outsourcing, you have to get it exactly right. Or otherwise, it's going to cost you more than actually having someone in office. One, there could be a language barrier. Two, there could be a technology barrier.
Hmm.
Three, there could be a time difference issue where they're doing stuff in the middle of the night, so you can't interact with them. So there's a time variable that could get out of control. Four, because they're remote, there's an accessibility issue. Yes, I understand. There's a lot of indie developers who are not in the same place and they kind of just throw the code in the same thing. But they all know what the view is. If you bring an outsider, you better hope to God that you have someone who can rein them in and actually keep them on task. Now, that being said, it is I understand the desire of of I don't want to say trimming the fat, but maybe if through a project you find that someone didn't hold their weight. Yes, that's understandable. Okay, out you go. That I understand. If someone's busting their balls, put in, serious crunch time, help make that game a success. It could be they did a bunch of back end stuff that you'll never see. But at the end of the day, because you decide, oh, all you need is the people to patch your game so you're out of there, that's redonk. Rebuttal, Zealeus.
I don't disagree that it's ridiculous, but that's probably why I'm also not the CEO of a company and lose my ass hand over fist. I
Right.
mean, there are unfortunately the fiscal realities they have to deal with. It seems like every single industry there's such a now razor thin margin where you can't keep on anybody extra even if you want to. I mean, I know where I work at, we're always kind of experiencing it, like, okay, what do we and do we not really need for staff to really make our place
Right.
function?
Right.
And, and I know we're not alone in that. Every single company is kind of facing that process of like, okay, what are we really doing? And it's tough, those decisions suck. And, I'm glad I'm not in a position of management where I had to make those decisions
Mm-hmm.
and tell somebody. But then again, some people don't mind making those decisions. Some people are like, ha, you're fired today, sucker. How does it feel to not be the CEO? And make $20 million to your paltry 20,000. But as part of it too, you just gotta wonder is, there also isn't maybe from a employee standpoint, maybe there's also not as much loyalty towards your employer as maybe there was. There was a time when you'd work at the same company for 40 years.
Right. Company
and
man.
that was your life was working at that company.
Mm-hmm.
Where now job hopping is kind of an art form. People are hopping from job to job to get that next incremental pay scale or job or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a little bit of give and take on both sides, not just the employers treating employees like shit. The employees also, they see the employer as kind of dispendable on their own terms. So it's kind of an anti-symbiotic relationship at times, or maybe it's the necessary evil.
I mean, yes, I agree with that. That it's not. It is as much as as much as I want to plead ignorance on it. It is a two-way street. I mean, there are individuals who excel, make a name for themselves with the product, and then leave the company to go to a better job or a different venture or a more exciting whatever. So yes, yes. I I guess right. You can't what is it? You can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, it's the way things work now.
But
For
it's
better or
also
for
hard
worse.
because you look at how many employees actually enjoy their job.
Right.
So it's because then you get like I was reading online one example of a company trying to trim the fat was they used to spend I think it was like $2,000 a year on the five. They had the service. We had the 5-gallon bottles.
Mhm.
At 5-gallon bottles, the little water things, people could get water as they wanted.
Yep.
Well, they decided that was too much money, so now they decided that, like, oh, we're just going to provide X amount of water bottles to each office.
Mhm.
And then people started apparently stealing water bottles, so now all of a sudden now there's a checkout system for the water bottle system. So, and then they got security cameras to watch the water bottles to make sure people are signing it out.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of this idea, it's like, oh, let's trim the fat by cutting back on this, superfluous expensive water for our staff to get that extra little modicum of happiness at their job, possibly. And now we just spend more money in the process, and everybody hates it even more.
Right. Right.
And, you kind of see decisions like that sometimes. And you're like, really? It just makes you throw your hands up.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just. I don't know. But I've also, I've worked at this in my actual professional career. I've only ever worked at one place.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of jobs over the years, but only in a real professional capacity, one.
Right. True. It's very true. So, this past week was AndoCon.
AndoCon!
So let's open up that bad boy, shall we?
What is know about AndoCon?
Okay, so once upon a time, Zealeus accidentally stumbled upon an announcement. I don't even know how the fuck he did it, but he stumbled upon an announcement for a small first-year convention here in Atlanta. It's actually being held up in Kennesaw, Georgia, and it was called AndoCon.
I like the emblem. It looks cool. Looks very geekerific.
And this is the Viking cow.
I was actually referring to the actual AndoCon emblem.
I know.
Like AndoCon, their font with the glasses.
He's got. I swear to God, he's got like
glasses?
the market cornered on these glasses. I don't think anyone else in Atlanta has these glasses.
Nice.
But anyways, so AndoCon take 2. Now
That's right. You were there last year, weren't you too?
Yes. Okay. So this was the second year of AndoCon. They pushed harder to have panels. They had exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 different rooms to host panels, and there was a smorgasbord of panels. As you can see, they're all over the place.
Yep.
One problem. This, my friend, is the source of truth, and also the only source for when and where and what the panels are.
So you better read your booklet when you come in.
You better not lose your booklet.
Ooh, that's even worse.
There are no signs by the doors. There is no, I mean, unless you can find someone who's got their booklet out, because I think there was only a certain amount of these booklets created. I don't know if they had a surplus of booklets for people who lost them. So this was a huge hindrance.
So was it even posted online?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the problem was the average regular panel. I'm not talking about the game show panels. The regular panel, your average attendance was anywhere from 3 to 5 individuals in a room that could sit 50.
Well, they had aspirations of grandeur.
Okay.
But
yeah,
having some communication among the masses, maybe, and like a little bit of a, hey, check out these panels. I hear they rock, which probably helped a little.
Well, one of the biggest issues, and you could see it right off the bat, you knew this was going to be the issue through the entire thing, and that was the opening ceremony for AndoCon. They literally had to drag in a couple people, so there would be at least 8 in the room. 3 of us were videotaping it.
And that was for the opening ceremony.
That was the opening ceremonies. No one knew about the opening ceremonies. No one knew where they were, and so to be honest with
Now,
you, what they should have done is they should have done the opening ceremonies in the gaming hall because that's where everyone was going to be. AndoCon, first and foremost, is a gaming convention where the focus is on board games, card games, pencil and paper RPG games.
gotcha.
If you could have basically said, "Hey, there's going to be a big event in this room with all these board games. Everyone want to flock there," and then, oh shit, look, it's the opening ceremony. So I'm just going to tell you this right now. My 2 panels, 3 people for both in each.
But that was normal. It sounds like most of the panels didn't exactly have high attendance anyway, so
Yes.
it's not like
Now the biggest problem, like, okay, yes, I understand. Ultra Confusion is really still like a Atlanta, Georgia thing. If I do a Georgia Game Developer Association meetup, people are like, "Oh yeah, Ultra Confusion, I know you." If I go outside and I say Ultra Confusion, but there were 2 names on this program, both very well known in the pencil and paper RPG realm. One of them is named Sean Patrick Flannan, who is probably one of the best game masters that runs his own game. His company name is, hold on, I don't want to mess it up. It's called Evil Beagle Games.
nice.
He's coming back to AndoCon next year. But it was his first panel, was also with another guy. His name is Eddie Webb. Eddie Webb is huge when it comes to the following name, Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, yes.
Both LARPing and the tabletop.
Yep,
So
I know
his
that.
name's all over that, okay?
Okay.
You got a dude who created his own pencil paper RPG in which people came to AndoCon just so they could see the finale of the campaign that he's running, plus the
Nice.
dude that helped with Vampire Masquerade, and they sat in an empty room and decided to break for early lunch because no one showed up.
Damn.
That, my
You know
friend, is probably that right there shows you that scheduling continues to be an issue.
You know what it sounds like to me is, and this kind of comes from the perspective of, okay, going back, because at our school, I've helped out with a number of events we do like 2 auction events every year, which I know are not cons, but they're still large group events.
Right.
And what we do, though, is, because kind of what you probably have, I'm guessing with AndoCon, is you have a couple of people who are kind of in charge of the whole thing, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
The problem that we've found is when that happens, is you just have a couple of large people in charge, but you don't have somebody under them, and usually we call them, chairs of these committees. So, for instance, it's maybe a silent auction committee or live auction committee.
Right.
You got those 2 people in charge overseeing everything, but if you don't have people on the ground, in that case, it would be like maybe the panel committee or whatever you're going to call it, to really concentrating on that and really getting together with maybe 2 or 3 people and be like, okay, how are we going to really advertise this and get this out there? It's like that falls off the radar. And it's understated, because I'm sure those guys have a lot of other stuff they're doing. I mean, putting together a convention, that's a lot of work. Right. It kind of sounds like maybe they need to figure out a way to delegate some of that type of work. Like, okay, how do we get the word out here, or maybe better structure it to maybe some people who'd be interested in volunteering for that or something. Is what it sounds like to me. Is it just kind of maybe a little bit of a power structure of AndoCon, and not necessarily like give away that power, but just get some help to make it run smoother. Is what it sounds like to me.
Right. So you're right. There's a lot of pre-planning that I think AndoCon would have benefited from. One of the things that I am very impressed that they did. First of all, their scheduling. They were kind of hamstrung with their scheduling. They had to. They're running a convention during the same time as some humongous convention called Origins. I don't know what it is, but apparently it is the shit. Okay, so you're going to lose people for that. Okay. Second of all, it's Father's Day weekend.
Oh, yes.
So you're going to lose a lot of people who may come from out of town because they have to spend time with their fathers, or maybe they have to spend time with their family. And third, we're talking about the very end of E3, where everyone's trying to rush to get their last 2 cents in about E3. So you're going to lose a lot of the media coverage for AndoCon simply because they're trying to appease their high-ranking lords and ladies. So I mean, you had 3 strikes against you, but I do commend AndoCon with one thing, and that is that they busted their balls at a shit ton of conventions, trying to tell everyone, "Come to AndoCon, we're gonna have awesome stuff." And they actually, as a result, they were able to add Sean Patrick Flannan, and they also added a company that I cannot remember the name off the top of my head. I want to call it the Florida Whammy Entertainment. Wow, I'm actually right on. So in that respect, they gained for the convention. The problem was that I think in my mind, this is just my opinion, but I think they expended too much energy on the front end trying to make sure they have all the pieces, that when it actually came to the integral planning of when and where all this stuff is going to happen and how we're going to be able to get it out to the con goers, and how we're going to keep everyone informed and interacting with the convention. Because the thing is, a lot of people just kind of wandered off during random parts. I mean, they're either okay. So basically, it broke down to this: you're either playing pencil and paper RPG, you're LARPing, you're playing in the board game room, or you're playing Magic the Gathering. Those are the 4 areas of concentration. Panel rooms, which there were 4 of, no one knew. No one knew. You would be lucky, because okay, one of the problems is, one of the biggest problems is, or was, that. So let's say that you have. Hold on. It's hard to explain without.
Your hands just weren't going to do the job?
No, it's not going to do the job. Let me see if I can find a page or something. Okay, screw it. Okay, let's say this is the convention, okay?
It's a sheet of paper.
Right. No shit, Charlotte. Okay, let's say that this is the entirety of the convention, okay?
Indeed.
Okay, Magic the Gathering is up here, okay?
Indeed.
Right here is all the panels.
Okay.
Right here is the board games. Right here is the pencil paper. Right here is the LARPing. Now, problem is, if you don't know about the Magic the Gathering tournament, there's no reason for you to go down the hall where the panels are. And let's say you're not a Magic player, so you'll never go down that hall anyways.
Yep.
No one will see the panels. The only way you actually got people to come into the panels is they saw the doors open and someone either sitting in front of a microphone or someone playing a video that seemed interesting and you decided to pop in for a second, or perhaps they were playing a show, game show that was loud and you got drawn in. I mean, that's what they
I
should.
think what you need to do next year is you need to get a megaphone. And 5 minutes before the panels start, just go running around to all the game rooms. Panel start in 5 minutes.
You don't even, no, see, here's the thing. You don't even need to have one person on megaphone. You've got volunteers in each position. You send out a text message alert or something and say, attention everybody, sorry to interrupt whatever you guys are doing, but we wanted to let you know that in 5 minutes we've got XYZ Omega panel going on.
Question about that though.
What's
so that? I'm kind of visualizing myself as a gamer, right?
Yep.
Like it's a pet gamer. If I'm in the middle of a session, I probably don't want to stop in the middle of my session. So just the nature of gaming and tabletop style gaming, is that going to even really work giving a 5-minute warning? Because, say you're playing a game, a board game, 4 people playing. Well, 2 people want to go to the panel and 2 don't. Well, obviously those 2 who want to go to the panel probably are just going to continue playing the board game.
Right.
So it seems like just the nature of it being a tabletop style gaming convention, it almost makes it, I think, a little bit harder in a way for people to go to those panels because it's hard to break away from tabletop games.
Yeah, right. To be honest with you, I think I think tabletop was not the problem. I think it was the pencil and paper RPGs because you had bigger names running campaigns during specific times. So even if there's a panel you want to go to, if you actually got to sit down at the table with Eddie Webb or Sean Patrick Fannin, then you're staying there.
Yeah.
Screw the panels, man. You're staying there because you're about to go on a Magic carpet ride.
Woo woo.
Now, of course, Magic the Gathering, for me, I'd be like, all right, F this. I lose. Bye now.
That's probably why you don't play anymore.
Dude, it's all kinds of jacked up now. Now you've got like this, you've got like a general card. Like, not like, oh, it's just a general card. I mean, like
Capital
General
G.
Super Sonic Screwdriver Man type of card. And
Yes.
if it's got, if it's swamps and white, then your whole deck can only consist of those two colors.
Oh.
It's bizarre as shit.
Yeah, I remember probably about 6 years ago I tried playing and I was confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't like your grandfather's Magic the Gathering. This is weird, man.
No.
All we had to do was fucking like tap.
Yeah.
My card. That was the extent of our game style. It's like, I attack, boom, your turn.
No, so one of the Magic the Gathering guys cornered me and goes, so have you ever played Magic the Gathering? I'm like, yeah, back in like 5th grade. They're like, so why'd you stop? I said, because I lost a couple tournaments and y'all changed all the rules. He goes, we didn't change all the rules. I'm like, it's all about spells and counters. Oh no, we fixed that now. We've made it so much better. I'm like listening. I'm like, no, it's
well,
not.
okay, it's funny you say that because some kids at school, they're talking about Magic after school, and like they started giving all these like weird tournament rules where like somebody can only have 40 cards, and you can only have one if each card was one style, and then another tournament you had to have one of every single, and like they're going all these like random tournament rules. I'm like,
oh yeah,
what the hell happened to just bring your own damn deck?
Okay, so back in the day, you were allowed to have up to 4 of the same type of card.
Yes.
Minus the lands. The lands you could have however many and
More
whatever
than 4.
many you wanted.
Nice.
Though I think special lands you were only allowed 2 or 4.
Maybe I don't remember that much.
Anyways, and that was the extent. And I think the minimum your deck could be was 40. But you could have any number. And
I had like 200 card decks, which was just dumb, but still, I had them.
And here's here's the magical thing. I mean, the absolutely magical thing. When you ran out of cards, you shuffled your fucking deck and kept playing.
Wait, no. If you ran out of cards, you lost.
No.
Yes.
No.
That was the rule.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Because so in tournaments in which everyone had the same amount of cards, yes. But as long as if your opponent's playing a bigger deck than yours, you are allowed to reshuffle.
I remember that because the only reason I remember is because I had that card that allowed me to turn over 2 cards in your deck every hand.
Yeah.
And that's how I win most of my games. It's because I just keep turning over 2 in your hand every turn, so your deck would like die instantaneously.
You can't play with a 200 card deck if I'm playing with a 40 card deck.
Well, that's your own dumb fault.
So the new rule is you play with 100 cards, and you're only allowed to play with 1 of each.
Yeah. Whatever. I don't play on Black Magic pretty much ever, so it doesn't really bother me.
Now, of course, if anybody in the audience who watches this video is a Magic the Gathering buff and decides that both Zealeus, or just me, or just Zealeus, are absolutely out of our fucking minds and have no idea how we used to play Magic,
This is very possible.
please comment in the comments below. Or
I've
just
probably
reach out to us.
played a game of Magic probably about 13 or 14 years.
At least.
I think I played my junior or senior year of high school. Maybe.
No, I was in L5R then, so I didn't play Magic anymore.
I still played Magic while we were into L5R then.
Those are the good days.
That was a fun game.
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Oh well.
They discontinued it. They brought it back. They discontinued it. I think they brought it back.
Woo! Just can't decide, man.
L5R, man, for the win.
4L.
Sure, whatever.
For life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached or surpassed the 30-minute mark, so we are unfortunately going to have to end the recording. Now, Zealeus, this is a reminder for you. That does not mean that we have stopped recording on Twitch.
Whoa!
So if we have viewers, which we have a total of 0 right now, but in the next, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, if we have a viewer, they will still be able to see us and hear us. So anyways, thank you for tuning into this early edition of the Hangout. For myself, Charlie, and Zealeus, it's been fun as always, and we will see you next week where I'm sure we'll get things back on schedule.
Remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother. Hello, everybody. It's me, Charlie, from Alter Confusion. You have just successfully navigated through yet another video that I've either played through, recorded, rendered, or some of the above. I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that if you want the latest and greatest from Alter Confusion, all you need to do is click on the subscribe button. If I can, there we go, subscribe button. That will, of course, allow you to catch the latest and greatest that come out through the Alter Confusion channel. Now, of course, we do also recommend that you also check out our website, www.alteredconfusion.com. And, of course, check us out. Just Google us for Facebook or Twitter, and you'll find us. Ha-ha! But anyways, please click the subscribe button, and we'll see you soon.